How you live one day is how you live every day.
You might not end up where you started, but you'll always end up better than you were. Does that make sense? Even, again, you start doing things, more things are likely to happen to you, good and bad. You're more likely to get things. Ta-da! You got good goal. You got the result that you wanted. And you're more likely to get bad things, which we talked about earlier. Getting bad things is a good thing because it's either a lesson or it's either a lesson and you're one step closer to the thing, or you're learning something that you're going to apply later, and you wouldn't change that for anything because it was actually a good lesson that you learned, or you get the good result that you wanted. Either way, you win. And when you approach life that way, there's no way you can lose. And then also, you can appreciate the journey as it happens, as it unfolds. Who knows where it'll go? You may get the destination, you may not. But you'll have a journey. And you'll have tales to tell. And you'll have all these things that you did, that you can be proud of yourself, that built your character. And your character is the only thing that you can take with you anywhere. Your character and information that you learn. And even information can change. Your character can change too, which again, it's why it's a rented thing. Just like everything else in life. So we really want to take action and appreciate both at the same time. And that will create the highest, best synergy for us. The healthiest way of living. Because and then guess what? Who do you think is going to get to the finish line first? Who do you think is going to get farther? Who do you think is going to achieve something more? Not that it's about the destination, as we just went over, but the person who is happy while they're working and happy to be doing this thing and be appreciative, even if it's not directly in regards to what they are doing. They could be appreciative of a smell of, say they have eucalyptus or a candle or something, and I'm really grateful for that candle. That smells amazing. I am so glad that we have that technology, right? Or the person who's mopey and getting all upset about everything and, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fucking do this. Man, this sucks. This sucks. This is stupid. Blah, blah, blah. And they're just pissed off. Who do you think is going to win and going to achieve more and going to have not only a happier life because they get the thing, but also a happier life because they're enjoying the journey? You win both ways. Why wouldn't you do it? And yeah, sometimes you are going to be the mopey sack of shit that doesn't want to do anything. It's going to happen. Everybody has days like that. Even if you get a 2% boost from being appreciative, that's 2% that you wouldn't have had. And it's important to push through on those days too. Even if you can't find any appreciation, you show up on those days and you get something done and then you keep your momentum. And momentum is so important. Momentum is why habits are formed. And I think habits are just another word for momentum and it's hard to really know unless you have firsthand experience of momentum, because you stop doing something one day and it's like, there's this old saying of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And someone has said, his name is John Sonmez, he said that he adapted that for his own life, where he said, he applied that and said, how you live one day is how you live every day. And that it's so true. Now, is it literally how you live one day? If you take a day off of vacation, you're going to live that way the rest of your life? No, of course not. But the idea behind it is so true because it's a spiral. You're either in an upward spiral or a downward spiral, and there's no in between. I like to think of it like a spiral staircase, right? If you're taking a vacation day off, you are arguably taking steps down the spiral staircase. Might not be a terrible thing. Life allows for that if you've been disciplined and resilient enough. and you've been doing the right thing for long enough and doing everything as you should. Cool. You already climbed 10,000 steps when the average person has climbed 100. You take 100 steps back, you'll be fine, right? And that's all subjective and varies person to person. But yeah, how you live one day is how you live every day. Meaning that you're either in an upward spiral or a downward spiral. Because our subconscious will repeat. Our subconscious loves to repeat. That's why habits exist. We repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, and most of our days look pretty much the same. And there's an effect that I called the open door effect. Maybe this effect is already named. I call it this. I claimed it as this. The open door effect, essentially, is where if you keep the door closed, you're not likely to ever go through it. But if you open the door's open, and you're much more likely to go through it because it's open. Think of it like a locked door. And if you slam the door open and you take all this effort and you bust the door down, then it's open and you're like, well, okay, there's only these few doors. Which one should I go down? You've increased the likelihood of going through that open door. You're probably thinking like, what the hell you think? What the hell are you saying, Dr. Discipline? What I'm saying is that and this has been studied too. Say someone cheats on you. The fact they did it one time means it's more likely to happen again. Or say say you eat chocolate one day. You have a bunch of chocolate, a bunch of sweets one day. You think the next day you're going to want to do that again? You're going to want to. You're really going to want to because that's the nature of them. So once you do something once, especially the more recent it was, and does fade with time and fade with time and fade with time, but the more you've done something, the more that's in your brain wired for that, the more connections you have towards that in your brain to go towards that. And again, those atrophy and decay, but they're never really gone. Those atrophy and decay over time, but the connections are still there. So it'll get weaker and weaker and weaker, but the connections are still there. And okay, well, less connections are made, yes. A connection is still there, I should say. Correct myself. But the connections some connections are going to be there. And especially the more recent it is, because it takes time to build habits and it takes time to decay habits, to get rid of habits. So if you're doing something, you are building that up in your brain. Meaning, once something is done recently, you're more likely to do it again. It's the open door effect. And that's why how you live one day is how you live every day. And maybe not for the rest of your life, but within the next 6 months, the next 3 months, depending on how severe, how you live one day. That's why it's very important to not lose momentum, because momentum is what keeps you going. I'd rather do something than nothing if it keeps the momentum. Say one of my habits is working out every day, and I sprained both of my ankles. Let's just say, I'd still rather go on some sort of light walk just to keep that habit there, even if that's not what I'm used to doing. That keeps me accountable to, okay, I still work out every day. And that keeps my brain knowing that, my subconscious. How you live one day is how you live every day. So keep that momentum going. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, you can watch the full version right here.